It's been yet another crazy month for my portfolio. So today we're going to look at exactly what's been going on. This is my Trading 212 ISA portfolio. An ISA, for those of you who don't know, is a tax efficient way to invest here in the UK. And if you want to open yourself a Trading 212 ISA account or even a general investment account, then use the link in the description below because that link will give you a free share worth up to £100. The first thing that you can see here is my total portfolio value, currently worth £13,261.87. You can see the invested amount comes in at £10,177.37, which means the difference is the return that I've made on this portfolio so far, which is just over £3,000. Or the equivalent to 30.31%. Last month, my invested amount, so the amount of money I've personally put into this portfolio, was sitting at £8,399.67. So that means in the last 1 month, I've actually invested £1,777.70, which is a really random number, and I definitely didn't mean for it to come out as 1777.7, but anyway, it's a very substantial amount in my opinion, and it's one that I'm very proud of. The return last month was 31.29%, and like I said, this month it's 30.31%. So it's been yet another great month inside of my portfolio, and it's primarily due to being able to invest quite a lot, but also due to a few positions that we'll get onto that have really done well over this last month. I started this portfolio in the new tax year, so in April 2023. And one of my main focuses for this portfolio is just to utilize as much of that £20,000 tax-free that we get inside of our ISAs as I possibly can. Now, I'm not really expecting to fully max it out and put £20,000 in one tax year in this. Eventually, I'd love to do that, and it's kind of my goal for next year. But this year, my goal is just to max out as much as I possibly can, specifically more than I ever have before. And I'm kind of aiming for around that 60 to 70% mark if I can, if none of my financial situations change between now and the end of the tax year, obviously. But what you'll see is that at the moment, I'm sitting at 19% utilization. So I'm nearly at 20%, and I'm so proud of that. It's not, it's only started in April and we're now in July. Mind you, I was able to transfer my ISA from last time into this account. I did have to do cash transfer. So that meant I had to sell all of my positions from my previous ISA portfolio and then rebuy in this one. So that definitely gave it a boost straight away. But I'm just going to keep investing as much as I possibly can afford every single month. You'll also notice that I have £81.39 of free funds in this account. What I try to do is I always try to have some money that is free, that is not currently used, that I can use should an opportunity to come up. So basically, I invest quite often, but I always sort of hold some spare cash back just in case there's an opportunity out there that I really want to pounce on. So I will be getting this invested as soon as I see an opportunity to do so. My Discord members always know exactly what I buy and when I buy it because I alert them in real time. So if you want to know that as well, then consider joining the Patreon, a link in the description below. I also do broken down, more in-depth portfolio updates every single week over there too. This spare cash actually does get a little bit of interest now that Trading 212 have introduced this feature. It's sitting at 1.65% that you get on any uninvested cash in your portfolio. Right, so on to my holdings. Here they are, and you can see that the markets aren't currently open because I'm filming this on a Sunday, which means we don't have to worry about these figures going up and down and changing in real time. But you'll see I've got a bit of a mix here. I have 4 US non-dividend growth stocks: Alphabet, Amazon, Palantir, and Tesla. Then you'll see that I have 1 Canadian dividend paying stock, and then 3 UK dividend stocks, and 1 ETF here. I also have my Vanguard portfolio where I have 2 additional ETFs, and I have my crypto portfolio, which I don't really share on YouTube. So let's just run through each of these positions. I'm going to share any dividends that I got paid from them, any additional shares that I've been purchasing, and how the position is doing inside of the portfolio compared to last month. So we will start with Alphabet. Now, last month I owned 3.05 shares of this position. You can now see I have 3.6 shares. 3.6003379, but we'll just say 3.6. For some people, I can imagine this in-depth share splitting is quite annoying. Like, you can't round it up quite easily. I know some of the members on my Discord get quite annoyed with that and always try and get it to a rounded number. I don't personally mind, we're just going to call it 3.6. So if I just go down to the history here, you'll be able to see that I purchased some additional shares on the 11th of July. So let's just have a look whereabouts that was. 11th of July was here. So unintentionally, really, I managed to actually buy on the dip of the month. I don't try and time the market, but what I do is just keep my eye on all of my positions. And when I feel like there's an opportunity there, I will definitely buy more. This position is doing quite well for me. You can see it's up 15.17%, which is equivalent to being up by £45.43. So if I were to sell this position right now, I would make myself £45.43 in profit, and that would all be profit because I don't pay any tax on this portfolio at all. And this amount, this 15.17%, takes into account the FX impact as well. Over the last 1 month, Google stock hasn't really done anything crazy. You'll see that it's pretty much started that time period and ended that time period when we're looking at the 1 month graph here in the same sort of position. But Google has announced that they are expanding the availability of Bard to more countries, and they're also adding additional features to improve the software. Next up, we have Amazon, which is a larger position than Alphabet, but you'll see that I own 7.1 shares, which is exactly the same as I had in the last month update. I have not added to this position at all. Over the last 1 month, it's been doing pretty well. You'll see here I'm up 27.07% on this holding, which equates to £155.70. Again, that's if I were to sell right now and withdraw the money, which I am not going to do. So we've recently had the Amazon Prime Days. Now, one of the purchases that I made has not yet come, so I'm a little bit bitter about that. However, the Amazon Prime Days has made this stock have quite a nice little boost. The Prime Days were 11th and 12th of July, I believe. So you can see here the 11th all the way up to the 12th, the end of the 12th. It's had a nice little boost due to that. And they sold something crazy, like 375 million items just on those 2 days, which I think is the biggest they've ever done before. So that's kind of mad. And I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out in their earnings when that time is shown in their earnings. This month, so July and into August, we do start getting the earnings reports coming out. So I'm interested to see how Amazon does in particular. In my opinion, this company isn't going anywhere. They still have such a moat, and people are still always turning to Amazon to order anything they need, literally anything. And there's not really any competitors out there that I think are even coming close to Amazon. Although I would love small businesses to be benefiting more, I'm still backing Amazon as far as an investment goes. Right, so next up we have Canadian Pacific Railway. It's actually got a different name now that it's undergone its merge, but this position is currently in the red for me, down by 3.15%, equates to down by £6.30, but it is the smallest position in my portfolio. Over the last 1 year, they've done decently, up 15.21%, and I think this company has such a strong moat and will continue to see good performance and good growth moving forward. I do, however, have to pay withholding tax on this position, and the dividend yield is pretty small as it is, and this is my smallest position, and I've not really felt inclined to add to it that much over some of the other ones where I believe my money's best spent. So I do need to do a deep dive and decide if this company still has a place in my portfolio. This position is doing better than it was last month, but I've purchased no additional shares here. And then we have Diageo, which is one of my favorite UK dividend stocks, but they've not been having a great time. They're down by 6.68% over the last 1 year, and my position in particular is down by 2.59%. They had a new CEO a little bit earlier than they expected, which may have shaken things up a little bit, and I also believe they're undergoing some legal battles as well, which is probably not so good for the stock. However, if you're bullish about this position and you're convicted into Diageo's long-term growth, then it may be time to start accumulating more shares at this discounted price. National Grid, again, we've got no change in the amount of shares I own. We are down by 2.12% on this position. Actually, all of the UK dividend positions right now that I have in my portfolio and the UK stocks in general aren't having such a great time. So again, if you're bullish on them, maybe a time to start accumulating more. And then we have Palantir. Palantir is the second largest position in this portfolio, and you'll see that right now it's up by 39.3%. So this is really helping the overall growth of the portfolio. And Palantir have they've been on a run. They've seen such a crazy year. If we 1 year time period, yep, you can see that they're up by 84.72%. That is insane. And you can see here, they've just had such a rise. And I was lucky to sort of own Palantir at quite a good time before this rise. So my position has really benefited from this. The growth has been slightly slower over the last 1 month compared to months previously, but it's still grown by 3.2%. Last month, this position was actually up by about 50% for me, now 39.3%, which is still insane. So if I were to sell this position right now, which again, I'm not going to do, I would have made £1,034.29. And like I said, that is including the impact of FX fees. Last update, I owned 231 shares of Palantir, whereas now you can see I own a lot more, 292 shares. So clearly I've been purchasing Palantir over the last 1 month, and I've actually purchased it on 6 different occasions. So my plan with this position is just to keep accumulating shares. And I'm going to be taking a dollar cost averaging sort of approach to this, just buying at regular intervals. But if there is opportunity there, i.e. the stock falls by quite a lot, and I still believe it's a good stock, I will just buy more and actually make the most of that opportunity. Palantir earnings are coming out in August, and I'm very excited to see how they've been doing. I'm hopeful that we'll have another quarter of GAAP profitability, which will just edge us closer to that possible S&P 500 inclusion. We've had a few pieces of Palantir news coming out since the last update. At the end of June, we had the news that they were partnering with a Ukrainian tennis star, and then more recently, we've had 2 more pieces of news that I actually covered in this video here. So do watch that if you want more information, but these pieces were quite bullish for the stock. One of those pieces of news was an extension to an existing partnership with a company called Carahsoft. And Carahsoft are basically now going to start distributing Apollo for Palantir. And the other one was a brand new contract with a company called Air Matrix. And that was actually through the Foundry for Builders program. And then we have Tesla, which is the largest position in this portfolio and one I'm still very bullish on for the long term. So this month we're up by 38.9%, whereas last time it was 38.54%, so very similar, but you'll see that I now own 31.22 shares. So this has really grown from last time where I owned 26 shares. Like with Palantir, I've been buying Tesla at regular intervals, therefore paying different price points. But I have been buying the majority of these additional shares when the stock dipped. So between the 22nd and the 30th of June. My next goal, my next stop is to own 50 shares of Tesla, but ultimately I just want to own as many shares as I possibly can afford. As far as Tesla news, it just never stops. We've seen more and more companies signing up to be on the Tesla Supercharger network, which is really exciting. We've seen some massive names join this. Ford, GM, Rivian, loads of others, and I think this is going to keep happening and we're going to see more and more sign up to this in the future as well. We've just seen, literally yesterday, the first Cybertruck coming off the assembly line, and then next week we've got the Tesla earnings coming out, which I am super excited to see and dive into. And then just for my own research, I've been diving into the Tesla bot and Tesla Energy way more, and that's helped me really build conviction and become even more bullish on this position long term. So I've made videos on both of those things. I'll link them here if I can, or just check them out on my channel. They're very easy to find. We've also had some interesting news on Tesla potentially becoming an energy provider here in the UK. Very excited to see how they actually go about doing that, and whether there'll be a cheaper option for us here in the UK, how they will sort of stand up to established competition that we already have here. We'll see how that one pans out. It's very early days still. We've had the news that Elon Musk has launched xAI, which is really exciting. And I do believe that that will really benefit Tesla, but I'm not going to dive into that too much in this video. I'll make a whole separate video talking about that. Let me know if you're interested in that in the comments below. As this is my largest holding, what you tend to see is that if this is having a good month and it really goes up, that is really reflected in the overall portfolio performance. And then if it doesn't have such a good time and it goes down, again, the portfolio overall gets really knocked by that. But right now things are going well, and you can see that I'm up by nearly £2,000. So I'm pretty chuffed with how this one is going so far. But equally, if it started falling and I still believed in the company, that would be great because I could accumulate more shares at cheaper prices. So it's all about controlling your emotions, and that is definitely something I'm really trying to work on. And then the last two, we have Unilever, firstly, which is another UK dividend stock that I really like. And you'll see that I own 9.71 shares, which is no different to last month. I'm currently down on this position, not by very much at all, 2.46%. But excitingly, I actually got paid some dividends for this company, which got reinvested straight away back into the portfolio. And lastly, we have the only ETF inside of this portfolio. Like I said, I have Vanguard, where I have two more ETFs that sort of make up the foundation of my investing. But this is VHYL, Vanguard's FTSE All World High Dividend Yield ETF. I have not added any additional shares, but also with this one, I've got paid some dividends, which again got reinvested straight away. Overall, I'm really happy with my portfolio right now, but I'm just going to continue to learn as much as I possibly can and improve my investment knowledge. If you want to come and join the community, like I said, join the Patreon, link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back very shortly with another video.